Fam, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Today is Thursday, December 12th. A lot of news today on the show. I appreciate you guys being here. Please take a minute and hit the thumbs up on this video. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. A lot to talk about. A lot of Alabama football news today. On the show, we are going to talk about the fact that Jalen Milroe, along with a couple other captains, are expected to play in the ReliaQuest Bowl. We have more on that coming soon. College football headlines, just in general, there's a lot of head coaches that are joining back to programs, including Dan Mullins, who will be back with UNLV, and Bill Belichick, as you know, will be the head football coach of North Carolina. We'll talk about college football playoff odds. First round just around the corner, and you have Army-Navy taking place this coming weekend. We'll take a look at Alabama's football schedule in 2025. That was revealed last night on the SEC network. Alabama with a tough road schedule. More transfer portal news as it happens. Talk about who else could transfer. I appreciate you guys being here. 107 up in the house. I appreciate you. We also got T up in the house today.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Wonderful Thursday. We are cruising through the week. The news does not stop, and let's get right into it as we talk about Alabama football news. And we lead off with the fact that Jalen Milroe, Jaha Campbell, Malachi Moore, and Tyler Booker, captains, are expected to play in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Michigan. Now, this may come to a surprise to some, but maybe not to most. I think a couple years ago, Bryce Young and William Anderson set the standard in terms of the captains playing in a bowl game that is outside of the playoff game. I think it is commendable to the players to finish what they have started. Now, in terms of announcements for players coming back next season, we only have one announcement that is in, and that is for Parker Brailsford, who will be coming back next season. That's a huge addition to Alabama in 2025 when you're looking at roster management. Now, I don't think that there was a lot of people that thought that Parker Brailsford would go to the NFL, but in terms of just having something solidified, in terms of somebody saying, I'm going to be back in 2025, that is absolutely huge. So these are the players that are going to play in the bowl game. As Coach Kalen DeBoer said, he doesn't anticipate many players to opt out of the bowl game. Alabama will take on Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl on December 31st. Now, please keep note that because the game is on December 31st, that will extend the transfer portal day a couple days further than its original closing date of December 28th, right? So the actual date for Alabama to hit the portal and for the portal to end will be on January 5th. Okay, so January 5th is the official day when the transfer portal does close for the Alabama Crimson Tide. 197 up in the house, but playing in the bowl game, you got Jalen Milroe, Jaha Campbell, Malachi Moore, Tyler Booker. If you're wondering about Deontay Lawson, well, Deontay Lawson is injured, so the captain to stand up in his place, being kind of a pseudo-captain, is Jaha Campbell. And as you know, we love Jaha Campbell and everything that he brings to the table. I would think that each of these guys will go to the NFL. No official announcements have been made as of yet. Just in, Parker Brailsford, Alabama offensive lineman, has announced that he is returning for next season. Thumbs up if this is good news to you. Hit the thumbs up right now inside the comment box or on the video. Appreciate it. Make sure we got 239 up in the house. Hit the thumbs up on the video. I have no idea, but it helps out the performance of the video. Thank you so much. Wade's World's asking if Deontay Lawson can come back. Absolutely. He's only a redshirt junior. I mean, a lot of these players, when you look to them, there's only a couple guys that have really exhausted their eligibility. And while Parker Brailsford isn't up for the Remington Award, which goes out to the best center in college football, which ironically Seth McLaughlin is, right? Parker Brailsford is absolutely quality. I had a video that was posted a couple days ago talking about the hit rate of Coach Kalen DeBoer in terms of success for him going in the portal and bringing back immediate needs, guys who actually played, guys who performed at a very high level. And Parker Brailsford coming back, absolutely one of them. T, could you block Darius, please? Appreciate you guys being here. Jeff Horn, what's up, man? I appreciate you guys. Corey, what's up? Good morning to you. Jeff, Marcus, Cottrell, what's going on? Yak Davis saying Alabama needs a wide receiver. Well, when we talk about transfer portal needs, we'll definitely talk about Casey Concepcion out of NC State, right, who is visiting over the next couple of days here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I think Alabama's up to 4 total visitors, right? I know 3 for sure. So Parker Brailsford will be back for next season, in case anybody was wondering. Also in the news today, tweeted out right now by Tony Tsoukalis, Bubba Hampton, who's an Alabama wide receiver, was seen leaving practice on crutches. That's all we know, right? Bubba Hampton, a very talented wide receiver here at the University of Alabama, left on crutches. So that's all we know. And in terms of like injury news, until you hear it from actual Coach Kalen DeBoer, that's who provides like the big picture updates. Team practice today, you're going to get some interviews from your team reporters, from the players, but Bubba Hampton seen leaving on crutches. We don't know if it's significant, could be minor. We have no idea. All we know is what Tony Tsoukalis posted, and that is he is on crutches. I would follow Tony Tsoukalis anyways. He's a great team writer along with Charlie Potter, Mike Rodak, Nick Kelly. Those guys absolutely have incredible scoop. C. Jarvis inside the comment box says Arkansas offensive lineman transfer is coming to visit as well. I haven't seen that as of yet. KTK, what's up, man? Good morning to you. And J-Bake, what's going on? As we move to college football news, all right, appreciate you guys being here. A lot of news is happening in the world of college football, right? Bill Belichick, we've changed his photo. We went with the tuxedo. I think, him coming in to college football, a lot of people excited to see what he does. Now, I looked at this. Now, I'm sure you haven't even looked at North Carolina's football schedule, but the over-under set by FanDuel is that he will not win, right? It's 7.5 and it's minus 158. I haven't looked at the talent coming back for North Carolina, but he's a 6-time Super Bowl champ. He's age 72. College football absolutely off the rails. I have no idea how he'll do at North Carolina, but he did pretty well in the NFL. Rodney, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Do we know if Jalen Milroe is coming back? No. When Jalen Milroe announces officially like what his plans are, other than playing in the bowl game, he hasn't said anything. We will stream probably for 24 hours consecutively, and that will be like the main headline. So trust me, that is the biggest thing that people are asking is if Jalen Milroe, and that's why his name continues to stay at the top. The most asked about question is if Milroe's coming back, and he will not answer that probably up until January 14th. So keep asking. They will not be an answer, because I think when you look to Jalen, that you always get segued right into Jalen Milroe. He has to have one more good game here. And for those of you that think he's not going to start, he's going to 1,000,000% start against Michigan. New head football coaches, along with Bill Belichick, coming to the from the NFL to actually from retirement to college football. You have Dan Mullins, right? Former analyst, now coming to UNLV. And I think UNLV is an attractive job because, they almost made the playoffs this year. Think about this. If UNLV would have beat Boise State, and it's not like Boise State blew them out, it was only 21-7, then UNLV would have been the playoffs over Alabama as well, because you have to put in the highest group of 5 team, right? Rich Rod will be going back to West Virginia. Coached at West Virginia from 2001 to 2007, coming back. Yep, J-Bag, that's just in. Dan Mullins to UNLV. And look, going to the group of 5 and coaching in Las Vegas, Nevada, the transfer portal, that's the easiest route. The easiest route to get into the playoffs. There's 3 spots. Number 1, Oregon, because they don't play anybody. Number 2, group of 5, because they have to get in, right? Probably Mountain West, too, because you can win that conference. And the third easiest spot is Notre Dame. Yep, it's just announced, man. Just look it up, KTK. This is breaking news as it happens. Yep. Dan Mullins to UNLV. And I saw that Bill Belichick, I mean, as you can see, 5 years, $10 million. Rich Rod back to West Virginia. West Virginia was like, they had a pipe dream that they wanted Coach Saban to go back. You know, that's where Coach Saban's from. Coach Saban, no, he's not going to coach at West Virginia. But I think Rich Rod is a great ad. So I saw this. Please follow this account on social media. This is on X, College Sports O. All right. When I was cruising through and putting headlines together for college football, I saw this and I was like, man, this is absolutely spot on. So College Sports Only on X says, imagine someone telling you on January 1st that in 2024, Indiana would be in the playoffs, SMU would get the last spot over Alabama, Boise State and Arizona State would have playoff byes, the state of Ohio would try to make flag planting a felony. Nick Saban would be the funniest member of College Game Day. Scott Frost would go back to Central Florida. Rich Rod would be back at West Virginia. Bill Belichick would be coaching North Carolina. And Florida State going 2-10. Right? What a sport. I saw this. This is spot on. Okay, let me ask you, out of these options right here, what are two of the most surprising options? I don't know. There's a lot to work with here. This is pretty damn good. I mean, Indiana to the playoffs, that's pretty shocking to me. Florida State going 2-10. That is absolutely wild. The flag planting as a felony, damn. Can you imagine going to plant the flag and then, you know, you're doing time in federal prison? A felony, straight up a felony.
Misdemeanor.
Nick Saban, Nick Saban's the best at everything, and he's the funniest. People never knew. Like, if you're close to Alabama, you know that Coach Saban is absolutely hilarious. He's got jokes for days. That's not surprising to me. Bill Belichick to college football is crazy. Yeah, Eric D saying SMU over Bama. That one's big. And then I think this one might be the biggest, though. Boise State and Arizona State getting into the playoffs. Because I think that when you go back to the beginning of the season, we didn't know. We knew the college football playoff rules, I think. We knew that 12 teams would get in. But we didn't know that they were going to have to be like squished and squabbled from the conferences and like forced in.
Number 11.
Say that again,
like number 20 would be over number 11 potentially.
Yeah, it wasn't. See, I think we kind of felt without really diving into the playoff ranking. I'm sure the college coaches knew this, but it's not the best 12 teams.
Yeah.
It's you know, the conference champions. Those are the teams that you have to put in. And I know Bama Dude is saying they're expanding to 14. What they're doing is they're massaging you to 14 and then to 16 and then 24, and then they'll just be like, let's do 32. So that's what's coming up next. But I thought this was absolutely spot on. So please follow College Sports Only. I think it's a really good account. Oceanic Jazz, what's up, man? Hey, Kyle. Has there been any talk of the College Football Playoff Committee changing the 4 automatic buys? I haven't seen that. I think that they have to make the conferences happy by having those conference championship games. Plus, as you'll see in the next graphic right here, TV ratings drive everything. So the top college football audiences of 2024 got this from a tweet of Brett McMurphy, who's been stealing everything. He didn't steal this, but he was the one. He got it leaked from the College Football Committee that SMU made it over Alabama before they even released the bracket on ESPN. So this graphic looks a little bit small. So let me see if I can zoom in. Here you go. Top college football audiences of 2024 in terms of the viewership, okay? And listen, do you raise your hand if you see any ACC teams on here or any Big 12? I think the SEC and the Big 10 Why don't they just have a super conference? That's where all the eyeballs are, specifically in the SEC. So up top, as you can see, the recent SEC championship game, 16 million viewers on ABC. 16 million. The game before that, when they played, right, on October 19th, that game had 13 million. That was more than the Alabama-Georgia game. Now, Georgia's been featured in a few of these games, as you can see. Michigan and Ohio State, 12 million. I was curious to see how much of that kind of escalated towards the back end of that game because those two teams literally fought. Georgia, Alabama, that was 12 million. Oregon, Penn State, 10.5. Well, where's that SMU Clemson game? Where's the Iowa State and Arizona State game? Not even on the board. Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon. And I think, look, teams like Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, people watch those games because they're not only entertaining, it's future NFL players, but a lot of people, half those people watching are people that want to see those teams lose, right? Appreciate you guys being here. We got 339 up in the house. If you guys can hit the thumbs up on the video, it helps the performance. I appreciate you guys being here. Today is Thursday. Today is December 12th. If you're just checking in, let me rewind real quick and talk about some news that are Alabama football related that I think is worth discussing once again because a lot of people might have missed this on the front end. So talking Alabama football news as it happens this morning. What's going on? Jeremy, I see you inside the comment box. La Sauce, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here. All right, Swervo, Wervo, what's up, man? Appreciate it. In terms of Alabama football news that is team related, playing in the bowl game against Michigan will be Jalen Milroe, Jahad Campbell, Malachi Moore, and Tyler Booker. Those are the captains for this team. There has been no official announcement in terms of Jalen Milroe returning for next year. There has been no official announcement about him transferring. In fact, all these players right here have not posted any official statements regarding what their status will be for 2025. All of them are draft eligible. All of them could go into the NFL draft. I mean, Malachi Moore doesn't have to say anything because he's exhausted eligibility. But as news comes on Tyler Booker or Jahad Campbell or Jalen Milroe, either of those guys could come back. We will keep you posted. I promise you we'll be going live when those announcements are popping. Parker Brailsford announced that he is returning. T, can we get an update on this? Is he a redshirt sophomore? Because if he's a redshirt sophomore and he's already played 3 years, he would be draft eligible, being the 3-year window to be able to go to the NFL. I don't think he's a natural sophomore. Yeah, so he's a redshirt sophomore. So the announcement is fitting because if he was just a sophomore, he would have to come back. But since he's completed 3 years in college, he can go to the NFL. I don't think he's ready for the NFL, but I do agree with you guys, as we were saying at the beginning of the show. Clearly, he's one of the best offensive centers in college football. Also, injury of note this morning as Alabama continued practice for the upcoming ReliaQuest Bowl. Bubba Hampton, according to Tony Tsoukalis of Rivals.com, the Tide Illustrated, was seen leaving on crutches. Please follow Tony Tsoukalis on X or the social media channels for more information. That's all we have. In terms of, we don't know the severity of it, could be anything in this world. So we have no idea. I'd wait for Coach Kalen DeBoer regarding any type of injuries. He's the one who gives out the injury statements. We talked about Bill Belichick going back to North Carolina, 5 years, $10 million. Other head coaches of note, Dan Mullins going to UNLV and Rich Rod going back to West Virginia. Jay Baker saying, Kyle, no matter what happens, I think Ty is staying. Have you heard the interview of him saying, yeah, I mean, and, you know, we were talking about that earlier. I think with Ty Simpson in the future of the Alabama quarterback position, he wants to be a head football coach here at Alabama. I think he is so Alabama heavy that he's going to wait for his opportunity, battle for that spot, but he's never complained. He's all Alabama, and he wants to be the head football coach after Kalen DeBoer. But I think, we got to see what he can do as well. And I think he's clearly going to be operating the offense in the springtime. Now, Austin Mack's going to compete for that job, and so is Keelan Russell. Keelan Russell just won the National Player of the Year. He's not coming here to ride the pine. But we said that about Bryce Young as well. And we can go back and check the receipts. There was a lot of us that honestly felt that Bryce Young should start when he immediately got here. And it was Mac Jones that ran this offense in 2020 like we've never seen before. One of the highest efficiency ratings that we've seen here at Bama as a quarterback. He went undefeated and won Alabama a championship. The following year and the year after that, when they turned the keys over to Bryce Young, he was ready to get going, right? Here's a look at the college football playoff odds for the upcoming games. That will be on December 20th or December 21st. Notre Dame is a 7.5 favorite against Indiana. Penn State, 8.5 against SMU. Texas favored by nearly 12 against Clemson. And Ohio State favored by a touchdown and a little change against Ohio State. None of this is really surprising to me. I don't think that when I look to the odds of the first round, I think I would imagine that all the favorites, I don't even see really an upset in this first round, to be honest. I think, Ohio State and in Tennessee, I think just naturally because those games generally are closer within any type of bracket. Considering that Ohio State, there's always drama with Ryan Day, if he can win the big game or if he can't. Tennessee's a team that nobody's talking about. Good quarterback, really good defense. I could see that game maybe going a different direction, but I think Texas beats Clemson handily. I think Penn State beats SMU, and I think Notre Dame beats up on Indiana, right, in the Indiana championship game. So those are the odds. And then you have the Heisman Trophy that will be released on Saturday. And I would imagine that it's Travis Hunter 1,000,000%. He's like the super odds-on favorite to win the award. You also have Army-Navy taking place. So inside the comment box right now, I would love some feedback on this. This is a graphic from FanDuel. Please check out FanDuel. They have a really good – I've been going to FanDuel a lot just in terms of the research aspect. Looking at the odds, they have a really good interface. I'm all about aesthetics. That's why I like On3. I've explained that many different times. Same thing with FanDuel. I think they put together really nice graphics that's easy to look at for a viewer who's interested to look at the odds. Yeah, Mr. John is saying that if Milroe is the quarterback, I won't follow this team or watch it all. You know what? And I think that's going to be the interesting thing for Alabama. Can you post real quick while I hit on this? Who are you guys taking, Army or Navy this weekend? Inside the comment box, type N for Navy, type A for Army. T, can we put a poll for Army Navy? It's like the most, like college football pageantry is happening this Saturday. Now, the thing about Milroe, as Mr. John was saying, is I think Alabama finds itself probably really in an interesting situation, being that they created a business deal and a business opportunity with Milroe, right? Being Lank, right? They created a documentary about it. You go back and look. They have Kalen DeBoer saying Lank. They have Nick Saban saying Lank. They have Courtney Morgan saying Lank. And that created a lot of revenue for the university and for Milroe. Now, is he going to get more money in the NFL or more money coming back partnered up with the university? It's probably one of the first, and people won't talk about this because this puts Alabama not in the best light, but was it the best decision to link up with Lank? You got to think about it from a business perspective, because now what you did is he didn't have the season that Alabama, the university thought he would. So is he going to go to the NFL? I personally think he's going to, but if he comes back and he's still making millions of dollars, who did he sign with, T? Was it his perfume, the cologne deal?
Yeah, wasn't it our...
Yeah, his estimated value, he's probably making like $3 million, $4 million, $5 million a year already. Yeah, Armani, right? So, but I think they're in a tough situation, because if he does come back, I think a lot of fans right now, and you can go not only this YouTube channel, look at every single Facebook post. I mean, people come on here constantly. They're like, he just announced, because it's that polarizing. And now Lank doesn't have kind of the brand, cachet that it did have, because you lost against Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, and you didn't make the playoffs. Sammy, thank you. It was Armani. Appreciate you. So who knows? I don't know. I personally think he goes to the NFL. I've said that for a long time. I think he has one more game. Clearly, he's playing against Michigan. So are all the other captains. That's kind of the standard at Alabama. Glad to see it. What's the early vote on Army Navy?
90% Army.
Okay, so we're all going Army. Wow, I'm going Army too. I mean, Army on the season, 11-1. You know what? Navy was putting together a pretty good season up until they played Notre Dame, and they turned the football over like 5-6 times, right? We hit on this yesterday. I thought this was absolutely hilarious when you look to eligibility and kind of the guardrails of college football and how there's no guardrails. Cam Rising on the right, Trevor Lawrence on the left. Trevor Lawrence having a career with the Jacksonville Jaguars for, since 2021. Cam Rising still at Utah, right? 2017 he was in high school. 2025 back to Utah. He's been there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is absolutely crazy, right? He was at Texas, and then he's going to be back at Utah again. There's another guy from Oregon State that has been in college, I think, as long or longer.
Yeah, a decade.
He's been a decade?
Yeah, a decade.
How is that even possible? Man, that is crazy. Okay, as you guys are mentioning inside the comment box, you got Keanu Coate, who was a wolf position player here at the University of Alabama, went into the transfer portal after all that stuff that he went through, and he committed to Vanderbilt. Interesting thing, and we're going to talk about the Alabama football schedule as it was released last night in terms of the opponents and the dates. He is going to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt comes to Tuscaloosa this year for a game that Alabama clearly is going to want to have redemption because Vanderbilt beat Alabama in 2024. Adam Lompello is asking, how the hell is Cam Rising a lot? I don't know. And I know Diego Pavia, this is also interesting because we don't know who's Vanderbilt's quarterback going to be next season, but Pavia, the quarterback, is taking it to a federal judge for extra time to come back as well to quarterback the Commodores in 2025. So, yeah, call him Dr. Rising, right?
Like this long because most of Cam McCormick and Rising, I think both missed either a whole season or parts of seasons due to injuries, right?
Yeah, so if you keep getting injured, you can keep kind of delaying the process. But with Diego Pavia, as I said, recently, he's arguing that he should get more opportunities to earn more money from NIL based on the fact that he went to the, I think, JC route. So now that, he still that's kind of, I don't know his exact argument. Maybe that's something that we look up on because it is an interesting case. I would imagine that more players follow suit. And that's why even the NCAA is thinking about adding an extra year of eligibility for players to earn more money while they're playing in college athletics. This is it. I mean, you saw Jalen Daniels. He didn't announce that he's staying. He announced that he reached a new deal with SMU. Reached a new deal. So you imagine, I mean, I'm sure right now, you talk about roster management, think about all the deals right now that are going on with the University of Alabama, right? New deals. And I don't know if this is the case, but somebody put this inside the comment box and I started to think about it in terms of contract and deals and money. I don't know. Do you think it's in contracts now, incentivized for these players to be like, yo, I'll come back, but I have to be the starter. I'll come back, but you have to throw the football 50 times to me. I'll come back, but you have to throw the ball 80 times to me. I'll come back, but I have to be the starting inside linebacker. You see what I'm saying? I have no idea if those are part of the deals, but who knows? We'll never understand. We'll never understand how much the players are being are making. Never. We don't know. Let's say, because you saw that graphic out there that Alabama was their NIL is $16 million and Texas is 25. Well, how much money is, are the top end players getting out of that $16 million?
Pavia is arguing that the NCAA's rules limit the ability of athletes who start their football careers in junior colleges, like, to earn money from NIL deals.
Oh,
He's
wow.
saying that the athletes, like, playing outside the NCAA monopoly have no meaningful opportunity to make to profit from NIL. So
he's gonna win that.
Yeah.
Yep. He's gonna win that. Yep. Yeah, because now they didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
They had no parameters for players who went the JC route, then got into Division I, right, to start earning cash.
Yeah, so this will start like a precedent, I guess.
100%.
Like,
yep. Now, if you're
following
junior
players.
college players, Bama dude, Keanu Coat, I don't think it even it says it up at the top, but Keanu Coat is transferring to Vandy from Alabama. And Greg, it looks like he's just getting in, and we were talking about that earlier with Parker Brailsford coming back. He's a redshirt sophomore, and like I said, I'm not surprised by this at all. I don't think there's many that follow kind of Alabama as closely as we do. The impact of this out of 1 to 10 is 15, is 20. I mean, this is monumental for Alabama for next season. To be able to have a solid center coming back, and then you already know Caden Proctor has to come back. I would imagine Jaden Roberts comes back, so you have 3 returning offensive linemen. You need to figure out if Michael Carroll can play or not his freshman year in terms of this level, and you need to figure out the tackle position. I know you guys are here for transfer news, and we're going to talk about that as it comes in. But until you get a right tackle in here, I still am not going to feel 100% comfortable about the Alabama offensive line. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube, talking about college football news mixed with Alabama football news. Keanu Coat hitting the Vandy, and then players that we're also watching, things that are also popping up on the radar. It seems like Jaheim Otis is visiting Colorado along with Caleb Odom. Now, I also saw that Caleb Odom, and this is, I think it was Pete Nakos of On3 put this out there, that Odom is also visiting Miami and Ole Miss. So those are some other destinations that Caleb Odom is looking at. There's a fake account on X, Twitter, of Jaheim Otis. And it keeps on announcing, he's like, I have received this. So the fake account is Jaheim Otis. And he keeps on announcing offers. He'd be like, I have just received and declined an offer from North Carolina. He's like, Sco Buffs. So there's a bunch of fake news stuff out there. Keep your head on the swivel, double check it. Stay with your team reporters. They always have, the absolute scoop, or come over here to Bama Football on YouTube. Head on the swivel, though. Caleb Odom, look, I would imagine that he ends up at Colorado unless he gets a killer deal from Ole Miss or from Miami. Each of those programs have cash as well. But his former quarterback in high school, Juju Lewis, is now going to link up with Coach Prime. It seems to make sense. I think that Odom is the better of the 2 prospects off the board right here, just because he has a higher ceiling. Unless Jaheim Otis really turns it around, I think he, as I've said many different times, I feel that he was kind of trending the opposite direction. So, but Big Matt, I'm with you, man. Appreciate you. And Max Tooney say, don't want Odom at Ole Miss. The good thing is, I guess in terms of that, Alabama don't play Ole Miss again this year. Those are some games that have certainly been changing. Yeah, and Timothy in here saying that Connor Wyman committed to Houston, right? Going back home to go to Houston. I think there was another player that committed to Houston as well. So in terms of transfer portal news, what you got, T?
No, somebody was just saying, what if Milroe goes to Colorado too? That would suck for Odom if he went to.
All right, transfer portal news. Look, we've talked about the visitors. This is the schedule. We'll come back to that in just a second. Here are the players that have actually hit the transfer portal from the University of Alabama so far. And I get it. News happens fast, and we might have a graphic that we create of players that have announced they are coming back, or that we know for sure coming back. Like, for example, Parker Brailsford might be one that we start out with, T. So something similar to this, but with Parker Brailsford announced he's coming back. Transfer portal tracker, I think you have 11 in so far. Dylan Lonergan, as we spoke about yesterday, the quarterback that hit the transfer portal. It made sense for a lot of different reasons. He was kind of the odd man out. I think he'll go out and he'll be a starter somewhere else in college football, kind of similar to what Eli Holsting did. Caleb Odom, as we just spoke about, visiting Miami, Ole Miss, and Colorado. Danny Lewis, no real detail on that. Same thing with Hunter Osborne. Looks like Jaheim Otis is visiting Colorado this weekend. Jalil Hurley out of Florence, Alabama. Haven't heard much on him. Keanu Coat going to Vanderbilt. Maybe we can put a logo too, T. if they have committed. So like on Keanu Coat, like he committed, so maybe a logo of that. Kendrick Law, same thing. You know, he's a wide receiver. We felt that Kendrick Law would do something here at Alabama. We were kind of like hoping, wishing. He only scored 1 touchdown here. I do think it's a loss, but, you know, in terms of the eligibility and the wide receivers that you have here on roster, it's not that big of a loss. I do like his game, though. Same thing with Kobe Prentice. Wish these guys the best and hope they find a university that can get them to football. You know, Ja'Cory Brooks, not a lot of people talk about him. He left from Alabama. He went to Louisville and had a really nice season. I think he caught for over 700 yards, right? And as we'll talk about next, you have Casey Concepcion coming in from NC State visiting over these next 2 days. You get him. That's a home run addition from the transfer portal. There's other places clearly suiting him out. N'Keal Bentrade hit the transfer portal. He's an offensive lineman, probably the tackle position. And then same thing with Miles McVay. Never got to see him this year as well, but he's hitting the transfer portal. But the only player that we know is going somewhere else is Keanu Coat, who announced that he is going to Vanderbilt. Keep you posted as news as it happens. Dylan Lonergan yesterday, 25 snaps in 2024. It made sense for a variety of reasons for him to hit the transfer portal. If I asked you right now inside the comment box if you were shocked by this information, you would say no. So I'm not even going to ask it. Ooh, X is saying that Kobe should go to Oregon. Yeah, I mean, looking at how Dylan Gabriel was able to operate that offense with the Ducks, that team was fast. They got the football to a lot of different guys. I know, I absolutely like that. There's plenty of places that I think Kobe could get fed at. Weekend visitors, this is the biggest one on the board. I think there might be some other ones. If you guys know of a couple others, I'm up to 3. I think Jarvis said there was an offensive lineman. There might be another guy that might be visiting. I would stay close to your recruiting sites. If there's another one, we'll get on the back end of our show. But the 3 that I know for sure, Casey Concepcion, he's the wide receiver out of North Carolina State. Number 2 player in the transfer portal. This would be a fantastic get. But ironically, based on the talent that Alabama has coming back, it wouldn't be a significant loss either, like if you don't get him. Certainly a playmaker, plays the same position as Kobe Prentice. You know, you get excited thinking about what could be with Jeremy Bernard if he comes back, Ryan Williams, and Casey Concepcion. I don't know. So keep you posted on that as the visit goes. But in 2023, ACC Player of the Year. You know, someone inside the comment box brought up this. They were like, you guys are always overhyping these type of players from the ACC to come over. And the last one was Tyler Harrell. I was like, damn, that's actually a pretty good point. Remember Tyler Harrell? He came in a couple years ago. I think what happened with him is he had an injury and then never was able to get back to what we thought he could be. I don't know. I'm pretty sold on this guy. I watched his highlight tapes from the ACC network. If you just YouTube that, I don't know. Pretty damn good. Bama Football Today say, what about Lonergan to Oregon? That could be interesting. Kelby Collins, Alabama certainly needs a defensive lineman, somebody that can play that edge position. And I think considering that he picked Florida over Alabama, he's from Gardendale, Alabama needs a bandit position player, right? We're still waiting on the news of LT Overton, if he will go into the NFL or if he'll come back. I haven't seen no one post information on that. Only 6 games in 2024, and Billy Napier said that it was just there was other guys that outplayed him. So he's coming in as well. And then you also have Luke Haas. Very talented tight end. 6'3", 241. He would fit in where C.J. Dupree left. I think he's more physical than C.J. Dupree. I really like this young man's game. So there might be another transfer portal guy who comes in this weekend. Stay close to your recruiting sites. As news happens, we'll keep you posted on Bama Football on YouTube. Spirit of Truth is saying Lonergan to A&M. That could be interesting. I mean, look, anywhere that Lonergan goes, he's capable to be the starting quarterback. Which is not going to be here. Lonergan to West Virginia with Rich Rod. Yeah, there's a lot of spots. I'm trying to figure out, too, like, who is going to be Oklahoma's quarterback and who's going to be Auburn's quarterback. And the reason I say that, and if Diego comes back for Vanderbilt, those are the quarterbacks you're going to have to deal with. Same thing with Georgia, right? So let's look at now Alabama's football schedule that was released on Wednesday night. Inside the comment box, let's do it two different ways. Let's do toughest home game and toughest road game. Post inside the comment box. What's the toughest home game for Alabama in 2025, and what's the toughest road game? I put in some sidebar notes about each particular game.
Campbell just explained why he decided to play in the bowl. He just said there was no discussion. This is what I love to do. I have a passion for it, and I have a competitive nature. I can't not play.
Yeah, so there's Jahad Campbell explaining why he wants to play in a game like this. And a lot of that, and just like Coach Kalen DeBoer was saying when he spoke to the media the other day, he expects limited opt-outs. These guys are competitors, Who are some guys that opted out even of playing in bowl games for Alabama? I can't really remember. It hasn't been really a thing here, and I get it. Alabama usually makes the playoffs. But even when they didn't, we haven't seen a lot of opt-outs. I think in 19, the only reason that Tua didn't play is because he was injured. And that was the year that Alabama didn't make the playoffs either. Ironically, that was the same year they were playing Michigan, but undefeated. Is there any are there any other players that have opted out? Who set the standard, and I've always been amazed by this, is Bryce Young and William Anderson. Those guys did not have to play in the Sugar Bowl against Kansas, and they did. And actually, that was the best game Alabama played all season long. Eric D is saying you have Patrick Cudis and an offensive lineman from Arkansas, and I think Jarvis said that as well. Okay, I'll put that down inside the comment box, and I'll do a little bit of research on those guys, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I would, like I said, stay close to your recruiting sites. They got good stuff, and we'll dive into it. But is this a offensive lineman at tackle, I hope? Because they certainly need to tackle. So looking at Alabama's schedule right now, Hunter Jones is saying, is Bama Hampton injured? Yeah, he just left practice on crutches. So, yeah, we have no idea. That Tony Tsoukalas posted that. That's all we know. But, let me ask you something. How many catches was Bubba Hampton going to get in the bowl game? More or less than one catch. Hope the kid's fine, but I'm just saying, Jalen Milroe is going to play the game. Do you think the offensive scheme is going to change? Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Jam Miller, Justice Haynes. A lot of runs by Milroe. Period. And they beat Michigan handily. Oceanic Jazz bringing up Terrell Lewis. I love Terrell Lewis. Okay, so you take on Florida State. Looks like they're going to have another quarterback that transferred in from Boston College. Florida State, as you know, was 2-10 this past season. New offensive coordinator, which is definitely interesting, is Gus Malzahn, right? Gus Malzahn, he beat Nick Saban a couple times before Auburn fired him. You know what? I wonder if in hindsight, if Auburn just feels that they should have just stayed with Gus Malzahn. What have they done since he left? I think they've gotten worse. DJU won't be starting. It'll be Costiella, I think, the transfer from Boston College, who will be the quarterback. And I don't know if Alabama's ever gone to Tallahassee. I think this might be the first time that Alabama will be going to Tallahassee. Bama dude saying 0 catches for Bubba Hampton. Yeah, it's the most important thing is for the kid to get healthy. Yeah, but thinking about it, are you just oh my goodness, now they can't utilize him against Michigan? Look, I get it. Some people might get upset that I'm going to say this, but the guy was never Not based on his skill set. I think Bubba Hampton's a good slot receiver. These guys weren't utilized. So he wasn't going to play. But the most important thing is I hope it's not serious. So we'll keep you posted on the injury status of Bubba Hampton, who was seen today leaving practice on crutches. Louisiana Monroe, be your first home game. General Booty will not be the quarterback. Same thing with Wisconsin. Tyler Van Dyke will be transferring. I love Luke Fickell. Think he's a good coach. The thing I like most about him is the fact that he said straight after the game that he got his ass kicked, right? Love that. You got a bye week right before Georgia. So, again, you have 2 bye weeks this year. Same thing as this past season. Made for a lengthy season, which I liked. And Georgia does have an open week as well before they play Alabama. Same thing. We know going to Georgia, going to Athens. Georgia's going to be, I would imagine, the early, 6.5 point favorite in Athens. Alabama's won the last 9 out of 10 games. I'll probably end up picking Alabama to win that game. Alabama probably will. It'll be weird, but I don't know. Kirby Smart struggles against Georgia. And the thing is, Coach Kalen DeBoer rises up in really big-time games. Even at Washington, he lost strange games, but against top-tier competition, he won those games. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing, but Max Tooney, I'm 100% agreeing with you about Luke Fickell. I think it's just because he's at Wisconsin. I think you put Luke Fickell somewhere else, I think he does a lot better. Eric D is asking on Keon Keeley. No update on him. People have been asking if he's going to hit the transfer portal like all season. I mean, if he hasn't hit the portal right now, I mean, we're just kind of waiting. So we'll keep you posted on that. But the latest player to hit the portal was yesterday, and Dylan Lonergan. You have Vanderbilt, right? Beat Alabama for the first time since 1984, taking on Missouri in Columbia. Haven't beat Alabama since 1975. Taking on Tennessee at home. I think that's probably their most challenging home game, to be honest. Josh Heupel, tough to deal with. They've won 2 out of the last 3. The last time they won in Tuscaloosa was back in 2003. Hank P, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Good morning to you. South Carolina, that someone pointed out this last night. It's a tough stretch. Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina. Shoot, that whole stretch from Georgia to South Carolina, there's your gauntlet, right? Ending on October 25th with a trip to South Carolina to play Shane Beamer and to have to deal with Lenore Sellers. He's only a freshman this past season. That guy's good, and they got better and better and better. Yeah, Lance, that's a great look at Keon Keeley. You have to look at both sides of the coin on all this stuff. Because it's the coach's job to play the best player. Maybe he's just not ready. You think about it. Think about if you added on 40 pounds and you had to do a different job, right? Athletically. It might take him some time to really get up to speed. The guy added 40 pounds year over year. I don't know. My hope is to one day see Keon Keeley starting along with Yanzi Pierre. That's been a wish. Then again, these guys are only redshirt freshmen this year. Sometimes you also just have to be patient. But there's no more patience in college football. You don't play me, leave. You coach me hard, I'm leaving. Slide into my DMs, I'm leaving. Keeping a player, now, if you can keep a player for like 5 seasons without like the injuries, but like keep him and develop him, I think that would be an interesting thing to see, kind of a percentage of players that have stayed and been developed. And like starting last season, because that's when I think that college football like fell off the rails. That's why it's so interesting to think about like a player like Ty Simpson, right? You think about Ty Simpson, The guy could have left a long time ago. There's a lot of different places out there that would love to have a quarterback like him. Shoot, he could just go play for his pops at UT Martin. He's never complained. All that he said is positive stuff, and he's still staying here at Alabama. But, yeah, there's no loyalty. And that's it. Same thing with coaches. There's no loyalty with coaches. Coaches bounce all the time. Same thing. It's just the players can get paid now. LSU at home on November 8th, followed by Oklahoma, right? We have no idea who's going to be the quarterback for Oklahoma because Jackson Arnold is gone. I don't know. I saw somewhere that he's visiting Auburn. T, can you look this up? Is Hayes King, is he in the transfer portal, and did he visit Auburn? Yeah, the quarterback for Georgia Tech. I think he's in the portal, but I didn't see. That would be terrifying if either of those guys goes to Auburn.
I think in 2022. I don't think he's in it right now.
I think he did enter the transfer portal. Whoever's the quarterback, if Jackson, this would be the craziest thing if Jackson Arnold ends up going to Auburn. Garrett Nussmeier announced that he's coming back for 2025. So, yeah, J-Bake's saying he's not in the portal. Anthony's saying he is. I don't know if he is or not. Hayes King, the quarterback for Georgia Tech. That guy's a problem.
Said he is not expected to enter the portal, but if he does, yeah, he'll be one of the most sought after players.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw that he hit the portal.
Okay, well then this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, we'll keep watching it. Just ask the undefeated. What does our vote say on the Army-Navy game? Who are we rolling with, T?
Army, 84%.
All right, we can take down that poll. Army, we have more Army fans than Navy. That's fine. My best friend was in the Navy. He passed away 2 years ago. Rafael Diaz. He was from Orocovis, Puerto Rico. I met him when I lived in D.C. We were roommates. And he was a cook for the Navy. And he would tell me about his travels and stuff like that. Anybody been to Puerto Rico inside the comment box? Who's been to San Juan? Flew to San Juan, right? Was in San Juan. Took the smallest plane that was basically pieced together by duct tape to Culebra. And then from Culebra, went to Flamingo Beach, right? And then took a then I guess I took a ferry to another part of the beach, hopped in a car with some friends, and drove to Ponce on the other side, right? Who's been to Puerto Rico? Yeah, but he passed away a couple years ago, man. He was only 42. So that was tough. Really good dude. Just saw life for what it was. From a little mountain town up in Puerto Rico. God bless his soul. A really good dude. And obviously a veteran too. And then you have Eastern Illinois and Alabama. The two teams have never met before. And then you have the Haunted Barn. I didn't come up with the Haunted Barn. Coach Saban did. Coach Saban, he has been absolutely crushing it on College Game Day. That was the best thing to ever happen to College Game Day, was them getting Saban. He was the best on the NFL draft, and he's the best on College Game Day. College Game Day's ratings him and Pat McAfee are the best thing on college football, period. Pat McAfee by himself, he was a little bit too much. Great, but a little too much for people. Ratings started to tank. I don't know why. That it was the yin and yang. And who would have thought that Pat McAfee and Coach Saban would go together like peanut butter and jelly? I have no idea why, but it works, and it's the best thing on TV. T, you got something? All right. So there's your schedule. Clearly, it's a hard schedule. We told Angel yesterday from Pigeon Forge we're going to look at a couple schedules for him because he asked for some schedule to be presented. Did he ask for Oregon?
He asked for Oklahoma, Penn State, Indiana, Arizona.
Oh, he asked for a lot. Okay.
Arizona State, sorry. Oh, I think, okay, so they're saying that maybe Haynes King said that he was set to enter the transfer portal, but he has not done so yet.
Oh, it's like
KCK saying it said potential, but he's not in.
Oh, it's one of those wings the expectation is.
To,
oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. What schedule should we look at? You mentioned one of them, and I'll pull it up.
Do Penn State.
All right, so we're going to look at, since we looked at Alabama's schedule, and this was fun to do, we looked at a couple last night. There was a couple that we didn't get to dive into, and Angel hit us up yesterday, and he wanted to go over some schedules. So we're going to look at Penn State, and I think what we found out last night, clearly the schedules are not, they're not the same in terms of, competition level. So like Oregon's, once again, I mean, that's why like Oregon is 1,000,000% inside the playoffs. So let me bring this up real quick. I have a lot going on this side. All right. Penn State schedule coming to the screen in 3, 2, 1. All right. So Penn State will open up with Nevada. Then they got FIU. All right. So 2-0. Then they take on Villanova. Are these games in order? I guess they are. Okay. Then you're open. So 3-0 at this point in time. Then you take on Oregon, but you're playing them at Penn State. James Franklin can't win big games. They'll lose that game. They'll travel across the country for another conference game, which is still crazy to me, to take on UCLA at the Rose Bowl. Let's say they win that one. Okay, so at this point in time, they are 4-1. They'll beat Northwestern 5-1. They'll beat Iowa 6-1. Lose to Ohio State 6-2. Beat Indiana 7-2. Beat Michigan State 8-2. 9-2, 10-2. Penn State, you're in the playoffs. So that's it. I mean, look, you're losing at Ohio State. Indiana's not going to be the same team. You might slip up against like Iowa or something stupid like that. They'll be upset. And the thing about Penn State, if you really go closely at Penn State's schedule this past year, Penn State played a lot of teams down to the wire. The past does not dictate the future. It's just James Franklin, same thing with Ryan Day. They can't win these monumental games, and they somehow, like specifically with Penn State this past year, they barely won some games. Okay, Oregon, you guys want Ephraim's taking Oregon. All right, let's see this schedule right real quick. Okay, T, will you tally this up? All right, so let's do Oregon. So I have Penn State at 10-2. Lil Ye is saying North Carolina might go undefeated. Well, FanDuel doesn't even have them winning 8 games or 7 games. All right, Oregon, they're going to beat Montana State. They're going to beat Mike Gundy, beat Northwestern, beat Oregon State, beat Penn State, beat Indiana, beat Rutgers, beat Wisconsin, beat Iowa. Yeah, they're undefeated. Oregon's in the playoffs. There's 2 teams that are in the playoffs. Okay. You guys want Boise State? All right. Let's do Boise State next. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we just looked at Alabama's schedule, and comparatively to these ones, I mean, come on. And what would Alabama's schedule be if they play these games? That's okay. So I already have 2 playoff teams in, and I'm just a YouTuber. Boise State schedule. I'm interested in this game to open up the season. I'm not going to lie. Against South Florida? Interesting. Okay, they're going to win this game. I'll take it into overtime, though. This will be an interesting game. That South Florida team is good. Their coach is solid. Eastern Washington. Did you know this? Eastern Washington has a red field. Did anybody know that? It's all red. It's like Boise, but it's red. Let's see. It doesn't look like their schedule is in order yet, so they must not have released their schedule. But here's an outlook of who they play. Appalachian State. You never know. Sometimes that team can be really good. Notre Dame. I don't know. They might beat Notre Dame. They might lose. That's an interesting game for sure. Air Force, they'll win. Colorado State, they'll win. Fresno State, they'll win. New Mexico, they'll win. UNLV, Dan Mullins, Boise State. It's in Boise. Take Boise State. Nevada, take Boise. San Diego State, Utah. One of these teams from the Mountain West, or a couple of them, will play well. But Boise State, you're in the playoffs. Can you imagine if Alabama played these type of schedules? Give me one more that Angel wanted me to look at.
Oklahoma. He said Oklahoma, Indiana, and Arizona State. So whichever one you think.
All right. let's do, just for the sake of it, we'll do Arizona State. All right. So just so we can go to the Big 12. Arizona State football 2025 schedule. All right, bring it up. Let's see.
So far we have every schedule that we've looked at in the playoffs.
I know. Yeah, I know. That's why you're going to eventually move to a model that has all, like, because they're already flirting with 14. And then, trust me, 24 it's 16, then 24. Okay. This is Arizona State's. Okay. They're going to beat Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks. Pretty cool mascot. Mississippi State. Oh, and their schedule, it's still out of order, so we don't know when they play who, but it looks like they're playing Mississippi State early. I don't know. I don't think Mississippi State will. I haven't even had a chance to look at Arizona State's roster next year. But I like this coach. Give me a W against in Starkville, which it could be tough. That place is nuts. Texas State, they win. Arizona, I'd imagine they win that rivalry game. Texas Tech, I don't know. That could be tough, but they're playing them in Tempe. TCU, I don't know. I don't know about this schedule. I don't think Arizona State, they're going to drop games. It's not going to be the same thing. I don't think Arizona State not making the playoffs. Okay? Let's see Colorado's schedule. Colorado's schedule. Ooh, I like that first game. I really do. Georgia Tech and Colorado. In Boulder? Yeah, that's some good TV right there. Coach Prime, Brent Key, I don't know. That's a good game. Haynes King stays at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech wins. I don't know. Delaware, they win. The same thing. We have no idea when Colorado is playing these games. Wyoming, they win. Arizona, they win. Arizona State, coin toss. BYU, coin toss. Iowa State, coin toss. Houston, lose. Colorado's not making the playoffs. Cam Rising, 30-year-old Cam Rising, no. Colorado's not making the playoffs. So the Big 12 is going to kind of be what the Big 12 was this year, in my opinion. I think you're going to have a lot of games that are kind of a lot of teams that are up and down that lose conference games. And I think the Big 12, the parity in the Big 12 is kind of similar to what the parity is in the SEC, but they're completely different, talent-wise. The SEC is like the Premier League, and then, the Big 12 is like, I don't know what they call United States Soccer League, but it's like that. Nobody takes it serious. Yes, and Jarvis is saying that Jalen Milroe playing against Michigan is confirmed. Yes, 100%. So Milroe is playing against Michigan. And Coach Kalen DeBoer said that he doesn't anticipate opt-outs, so not surprised to see it. We have, in case you're missing this, we have Bubba Hampton. T, I saw we have some like Damani Jackson. Are you just asking the questions like stay or go on those graphics?
Yeah, well, so he was just asked on his future plans.
Damani Jackson. Uh-huh. So why don't you read this out, T? This is just I haven't even seen this, but go ahead, T.
Yeah, Brett Greenberg just reposted it. So he was just asked about his future plans, and he basically just said he was just focused on Michigan right now. So that should basically saying he's going to play in that game, right?
Yeah, and I think same thing with Damani Jackson. I mean, so clearly what that tells us is Damani Jackson, he's wondering about his future as well and probably trying to figure out if it's best for him to come back or to the NFL. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of caught on that as well. All right, another update here from Jahad Campbell. Go ahead, T.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, so Jihad Campbell, when he was asked if he was going to play in the ReliaQuest Bowl, he just said, there was no discussion. This is what I love to do. I have a passion for it. I have a competitive nature, and I can't not play. All
right, so that's Jahad Campbell and Damani Jackson. And in case you missed it, Bubba Hampton seen leaving practice on crutches, and then Parker Brailsford. I don't know if he had like a formal announcement, but the announcement from the team reporters is that he is returning for next season. So, there are several players. I think what we might do is kind of build a board about players that might go or might stay, and then kind of update you on that because, based on if they've exhausted their eligibility or if they're coming back, it is noteworthy in terms of, that player's coming back.
Yeah.
Someone wanted me to put Tennessee schedule on the board.
I saw a couple of people asking about North Carolina too.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay, we'll do North Carolina and then we'll do Tennessee real quick. North Carolina
I think,
football schedule.
Some people have been asking for Texas, but we did that last night, right?
Yeah, they. I think from what I remember, they're playing
in Oregon.
No, they had like 2 difficult games.
No, sorry, I don't think Texas is playing Oregon. I was just saying other people were asking for their.
Oh,
schedule.
okay, all right. Okay, North Carolina's schedule coming to the full screen board in 2 seconds. All right, we got TCU. Looks like these games are not in order as well. So they have like the SEC revealed it, and so did the Big 12, but you don't have the ACC. I don't think. So it looks like on their schedule, their opener is TCU. Who knows? Probably win that game. They'll beat Charlotte. The Richmond Spiders. That's cool. I like that helmet. They'll be able to win that one. UCF. Scott Frost. Bill Belichick. That's cool. I think they'll win that one as well, I guess. I don't know. Cal, NC State, Clemson, Duke, Stanford, the Cardinal, Virginia, at Syracuse, Wake Forest. I mean, see what I'm saying? Like, competitively for North Carolina, it's not the most challenging schedule based on their skill set. But just hear me out. What if Alabama played this schedule? What if Alabama played, who on this schedule is going to challenge Alabama? Nobody. Clemson, I guess, just because Clemson is the best team from the ACC. But the problem with this is there's going to be some teams that just absolutely would run through ACC schedule, but they're playing in the SEC and they're going to be penalized for it because their schedule is difficult. 12-0. Yeah, there's nobody on this schedule. And it's not about, Greg Byrne was saying it's about out-of-conference games. It's not. It's the conference that you're in. The conference that you're in, because it's the best conference where you want your team to be playing because you thought strength of schedule meant something, it doesn't. Playing a light schedule like Notre Dame's or not having any other conference foes to deal with, that is your route to the playoffs. It's not your out-of-conference opponents. It's not East Carolina. It's not Wisconsin. And it's not Louisiana Monroe. Those teams have nothing to do with it. The teams that have something to do with it are on the road at Georgia, on the road at South Carolina, hosting LSU, hosting Tennessee, and going to Auburn. That's your problem. Those are 5 games that I just listed that you could win or lose.
Yeah, I've never even heard of the Spiders before. That's a wild mascot.
Yeah, I like it. Spiders are good. Okay, what other schedule?
A couple people are asking for UNLV.
Oh, UNLV? Oh, UNLV football schedule 2025. All right, let's check this out. Full screen in 3, 2, 1. UNLV. Coach Dan Mullins taking on, and again, these are out of order, but Sam Houston, UCLA, Idaho, Miami, Boise State. These guys are going to win a lot of games too. UNLV could very well be in the playoffs. Their only challenge is going to be right here against Boise. Oh, I guess I can't see them beat UNLV or UCLA. But the thing is, UCLA, they're going to lose this game. But see what I'm saying? Come on. If you're Ole Miss, you're running through this schedule. But one of these teams is going to win the Mountain West. That's just college football right now. So clearly we all know it's broken. The system doesn't work. But yeah, those are the schedules for today. So anyways. Well, I think on that note, I appreciate you guys being here. As news happens, I'll get you posted on Bama Football on YouTube. What I'm going to do next is package a video that will be a general upload that kind of encompasses some of the news that happens today. Because there was some, I wouldn't say, overwhelmingly like notable items, but I think in terms of the roster management, there's some stuff that we certainly need to go over, right? In terms of Alabama football news. Like guys who are playing in the bowl game. Jalen Milroe, Jahad Campbell, Malachi Moore, Tyler Booker. Parker Brailsford announced that he's coming back. Bubba Hampton seen leaving on crutches. Jahad Campbell, when asked about why he's playing in the bowl game, said there's no discussion. This is what I love to do. I have a passion for doing it. I have a competitive nature. He cannot play. That's kind of the same thing with me. Like I could never just like understand people who just sat out just because they could sit out. Damani Jackson doesn't have an update in terms of if he wants to play or not. If he wants to, that he's just focused on the Michigan game, which that's where exactly he should be. Ooh, Kono coffee sounds good. I think we should definitely hit some coffee. So that's where things stand right now. So as news happens, okay, the last one they want is Tennessee. Okay, I'll do Tennessee. I have a little bit of time. I'll do Tennessee, and then I'll catch up with you guys here in a little bit. So let's do Tennessee football schedule 2025. Okay, pull it.
Rich B is saying that Georgia, LSU, Missouri, and Oklahoma all have byes the week before Bama.
Damn. That's crazy. Say that one more time.
Rich B just said Georgia, LSU, Missouri, and Oklahoma all have byes the week before Bama.
Oh, my goodness. That's terrible news. Jeez. All right, this is Tennessee's schedule. Syracuse, the Buccaneers from East Tennessee, Georgia. Okay, so at this point they're 2-0. I don't think they're good. Ooh, the game's in Tennessee. All right, we'll take Georgia though. So 2-1 against UAB, 3-1. Mississippi State 4-1. Arkansas 5-1 at Alabama 5-2. Kentucky 6-2, 7-2, 8-2, 9-2, 10-2. Tennessee potentially misses the playoffs based on the parameters of being in the SEC and coming in a tie because they lost 2 conference games. So Tennessee, the exact same thing that happened to Alabama this year will happen to Tennessee, and they will be the odd man out. Predictions before predictions. KT has them at 9-3. I have them at, I guess, 10-2. But I could certainly, like the road game on November 22nd, depending on how Florida hits this year, that's a tough game. You would think, I don't know what other conference opponents they lose to other than Georgia and Alabama, right? So Tennessee is definitely going to be in the mix. I have them at 10-2. Who knows? Maybe 9-3 seems more realistic. As news happens, I got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for being here during the morning segment. Stay tuned because as news happens, and of course, we've been experimenting with the evening show where we kind of recap the news of the day. 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hit the subscription button so you're notified. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for rocking with us right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We love each and every one of you. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. See you.